While I was handing out flyers, I saw my girlfriend Anna, barely dressed, kissing class heartthrob Henry in a sports car. When I tapped on the window, Henry looked up and asked, "Who's this?" Anna, nestled in his arms, replied, "Just my boyfriend. If you want me to, I'll break up with him right now." After kissing Henry, she didn't even glance at me and turned to leave. Henry licked the lips Anna had kissed and mockingly said, "You should go. Only the strong deserve beauties like her." I asked, "A girlfriend doesn't matter, but what are you doing in my car?" The air grew tense. Henry, still gripping the steering wheel, stared blankly at me. "What do you mean, your car?" "This is my car," I said. I opened the glove compartment, took out my driver's license, and said, "Look, my name's on this." "Why are you in my car?" "Stole it, didn't you?" "I'm calling the police." Henry's face turned red. He scrambled out of the car, came over to me, and whispered, "Don't call the cops. My dad's a mechanic. I just thought this car was nice, so I borrowed it for a bit. Please, don't report it." I widened my eyes and shouted, "You call that borrowing? This is stealing. Just because your dad's a mechanic doesn't mean he can steal cars under the guise of repairs." Henry lowered his head and muttered, "Sorry." I sighed, "Stop trying to sweet-talk me. I'm checking the car's condition first." He stayed quiet as I quickly noticed a dent on the engine hood. "What's this?" I asked irritably. Panicking, Henry quickly explained, "It's not my fault. Your girlfriend insisted on sitting on the hood for a selfie and posted a bunch on social media. There's proof." I pulled out my phone to check. But there was nothing. Henry hastily shoved his phone into my hand. Turns out, Anna had blocked me. I glanced through her social media, clicking my tongue. Bold photos. "All right, go back and get ready for a court summons. You two are in for a world of trouble." Henry froze, his voice barely a whisper. "Am I going to have to pay a lot of money?" I shrugged. "Probably around $100,000. His face went pale. He quickly added, "But she's the one who damaged it. Do I still have to pay?" I rolled my eyes. "You're both at fault. Your dad's gonna get nothing out of this year." Henry, a grown man, was now crying. "That bitch. I told her this car is made of carbon fiber composite. Only high-end sports cars use it. The hotter it gets, the harder it gets, and she took a selfie in the car before it even warmed up. My parents work so hard, and now she's ruining it all." I got in my car, uninterested in his tears, and called for an assessment of the damage. Henry wiped his tears and wailed, "How come you're the one with the money? Your girlfriend said you're always handing out flyers at all these stores, right?" I looked at him, unfazed. "I don't work for anyone. Sure, I hand out flyers, but those stores are mine." I wasn't lying. In college, I owned 72 stores on half a street. What's wrong with handing out flyers for my own shops? I rolled up the window, not wanting to hear him cry anymore. Just then, Anna sent me a text, "Since you saw it, we're done. Don't blame me. I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than laugh on your flyer bike." I paused. Because the Lamborghini and the bike were mine. Should she be crying or laughing? I was about to text her back, "Get ready for the court summons," when I realized she'd already blocked me. My God, how could she block me? And about the car repair bill, she owes me $100,000. I didn't care that I was in a girl's dorm. I barged in, heading straight to Anna's room. Fortunately, it was still morning, so the dorm wasn't crowded. I stood at the door, just about to knock, when I suddenly heard a woman's voice from inside, "Did you really do what I told you?" Then Anna's voice replied, "Yeah. I told him I've been taking the pills." The woman sounded excited. "That's great. I've been keeping track of your cycle, and I knew you'd be fertile these days, so I told you to go on that date. Once you're pregnant, you'll be set for life." She continued, "Once you're pregnant, I've got plenty of ways to make him recognize the baby. You broke up with your boyfriend for him, and you think he'll dare not accept the child?" I was honestly stunned. Anna had really taken things this far. She was planning to get pregnant and marry Henry? I couldn't imagine her face when she found out Henry had stolen my car. I knocked on Anna's door. She frowned the moment she saw me. She said, "We've already broken up. Why are you still bothering me?" "Listen, it's one thing to be poor, but to be poor and shamelessly clingy, chasing after a girl like this, it's disgusting." It seemed Anna had misunderstood, thinking I was here to win her back. There were two other people in the room, her roommates, whom I knew. Before I could say anything, one of them spoke up. Please don't stop Anna from pursuing her own happiness. I was left speechless. So, making out with another man in a sports car behind her boyfriend's back was now pursuing happiness? I recognized that roommate. She was Anna's best friend, Becky, the one who had encouraged Anna to get pregnant. Back when Anna and I first got together, Becky had always made sarcastic remarks, like how a man's love for a woman depended on how much money he spent on her. It was because of Becky's constant encouragement that I had bought Anna so many gifts. Now, I had come to get them back. I said, "We can break up, but the phone you're using was mine, so you should return it." I didn't mention the sports car. With Anna's personality, she'd probably cling to me even more if I did. First, I needed to get back what was mine. Anna frowned immediately, coldly saying, "So you're that petty? Don't you ever think about how I feel?" I was speechless. "It's not that I'm petty, it's just that you've already betrayed me. Why should I care about your feelings now?" Becky suddenly covered her mouth and laughed. She said, "Can't you see through this poor guy's trick? He says he wants his gifts back. But that's just an excuse. What he really wants is to make things awkward for you. He can't let go of you." Anna sneered. "So that's how it is. You think I won't break up with you just because I don't want to return your things, huh? Have you forgotten? My new man is rich." She raised her head in pride, and Becky took the opportunity to pile on. "Anna, don't worry, I just checked. Henry's Lamborghini is worth millions. A new phone from him is nothing more than a casual gift." Anna smiled. "I'll return the phone. But let me make one last call first. I want you to understand why I broke up with you, because the gap between you and a rich man is something you'll never bridge in your lifetime." I wondered if she meant Henry by rich man. I remembered that when I had taken my car to Henry's place for maintenance, his dad had sighed, saying that it was tough to make money these days, and the money he earned wasn't even enough to pay the rent. Anna made the call, and Becky immediately said, "Put it on speaker, let him hear how big the gap between him and others is." Anna nodded, seeming to enjoy the opportunity to show off, and turned on the speaker. When the call connected, she spoke in a hurt voice, "Henry, my boyfriend came to break up with me and wants me to return his phone. How am I supposed to contact you without it?" But Henry didn't indulge her. On the other end, I could hear Henry's furious voice shouting, "You bitch. Don't ever let me see you again, or I swear, every time I see you, I'll beat you." For a moment, both Anna and Becky were stunned. The call was slammed down so violently that Anna just stared at her phone, unable to say a word. Becky quickly snapped back to reality. Enraged, she grabbed a book from her bed and hurled it at me, shouting, "Did you go downstairs and talk bad about Anna to others?" Hearing this, Anna trembled with anger. "Yeah. He wasn't treating me like this just now. You must have been spreading rumors about me. You're so pathetic, you disgust me." I impatiently said, "I didn't say anything bad about you. Just give me my stuff back. If you didn't talk bad about me, why would he suddenly act like this?" She fired back. I was at a loss for words. Because of Anna's selfie on the car hood, Henry ended up with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Considering his family's income, no wonder he was furious. Becky sneered. "That's why I told you to be bold and date Henry. I could already see that this poor guy is all talk and no action. He'll scheme behind your back, disgusting. Men like that." I asked, "So, you were involved in her betraying me, too, weren't you?" Becky replied, annoyed, "Is that what you call betrayal? My best friend was stuck in a pit, of course I had to help pull her out. Should I have let her end up marrying you? She'll thank me for this for the rest of her life." Anna was growing impatient. Coldly, she said, "I'll return the phone, but I have one condition. You need to go apologize to Henry right now and admit you were talking nonsense." Becky added, "Yeah, even if you have to kneel and apologize, you need to clear Anna's name." I took the phone from Anna, continuing, "Why would I apologize for something I didn't do? And by the way, our debts aren't settled." I walked into the room and sat down at the desk to start calculating. Since we'd started dating, I'd given Anna countless gifts and made transfers. I wanted her to pay it all back. Anna, disappointed, said, "My friends are here, and we've loved each other. Do you really want to embarrass me like this?" I ignored her and kept tallying. Becky suddenly took a picture of me. She made a face of disgust and said, "Looks like I've encountered an irresponsible man today." I'm going to post this on social media and let everyone know what kind of person you are. I thought she was trying to threaten me, but when I looked at my phone, I realized she had actually posted it. She shared my photo with the caption, "Oh my God, don't ever date him. The poorer they are, the more trouble they bring. My best friend got entangled with him, so scary." I frowned and said, "Why bring up poverty between us? You can't even hide your love for money." Becky sneered. "Yeah, I like rich men. What are you going to do about it? If you were really rich, you'd be the one lecturing me here, not the other way around. Take a good look at your own life." Becky's voice grew louder as she walked over to the window, pointing outside. She said, "Rich men drive Lamborghinis worth millions, their minds full of ambition and career. Poor men just sit here, counting pennies, making the girl they once loved disgusted and sick." One of the other roommates finally couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. "Anna, why don't you just pay him back? You were the one in the wrong in this situation." Instantly, Anna's expression changed. She asked, "What do you mean by that? Are you taking his side?" Becky sneered again. "Isn't it obvious? You found yourself a boyfriend with a Lamborghini. And now she's upset. She has to insult you to make herself feel better. She's slandering you." The other roommate flushed red. "Don't just make up lies about me." I recognized her. She was a poor student at the school, named Janet. I remembered how Anna had once asked me to buy desserts for everyone in her dorm just to show off, and Janet was the only one who refused. She said she couldn't accept anything without earning it and didn't want to take advantage of others. That little moment left a strong impression on me. Anna sighed and said, "Janet, I know your family is poor, relying on student loans and scholarships to get by. I understand that you might hate rich people, but you know what? Character matters more than grades." Janet widened her eyes in disbelief. "Are you saying my character is bad?" I was stunned as well. Janet had always been hardworking, outstanding in both academics and character. And Anna? Just moments ago, she was kissing Henry, the so-called rich man, right in front of me, her boyfriend. And now she was saying Janet had bad character? What nonsense was she talking? Becky sneered. "I know women like you, poor ones. You know he broke up with you, and now you're trying to win his favor. You're well aware you don't qualify to be with a man with a Lamborghini, so you won't even spare a guy who hands out flyers." Janet clenched her fists in anger and stood up. "I also have a part-time job tutoring. I make $2,000 a month." Becky looked down on her. "For you, even mosquito legs are food. Yesterday, I saw you pick up food that fell on the table and eat it. A poor woman like you wouldn't be picky about men." Janet's eyes reddened. And her voice trembled with frustration. "It fell on the table, not the floor. What's wrong with eating it?" "Enough!" Anna yelled, interrupting us. She slammed her phone onto the table and turned to me. "You really embarrass me. The biggest regret of my life is dating you. Hurry up and settle our debts, then I'll go explain things to my new boyfriend." Becky quickly added, "Don't worry, Anna, I'll go with you to explain. Once the rumors are cleared, you'll still be Henry's girlfriend." I didn't bother with them anymore and focused on the calculations. Of course, I didn't include the car repair costs in the total. I was worried Anna might beg me to get back together. After carefully going over everything, I realized that over the course of our year-long relationship, including various transfers and small gifts, I had spent a total of $18,000. I was stunned. I had no idea dating would be so expensive. I only spent a few $100s on living expenses each month, and now, seeing the total, it was a shock. It wasn't just me, Anna and Becky were also taken aback. After all, they were students. How were they going to come up with over $18,000? At first, they didn't believe me and double-checked the numbers several times before confirming that I wasn't wrong. Anna seemed troubled. $18,000. I can't come up with that right now. Becky panicked and quickly said, "Anna, don't worry. I'll help you pay it back. Your attitude toward him now will determine Henry's attitude toward you. Even if we have to take out a high-interest loan, we'll pay him back. Break up with this poor guy as soon as possible, then you'll have a chance to marry into a rich family." In the end, Anna was swayed by Becky's words. She nodded and said, "Okay. We'll figure out how to borrow some money. I can't let my parents find out, or my dad will kill me." I didn't know what to say. If $18,000 would get her killed by her parents, how would they react and they receive the repair bill for nearly $100,000? Her parents might just destroy her. Anna and Becky immediately started contacting people to borrow money, and surprisingly, it was very easy for them. Anna herself seemed astonished at how easily the money came. She couldn't help but say, "I have a good reputation. People are willing to lend me money." Becky laughed. "It's because of your selfies on social media. You're sitting in a multi-million-dollar sports car. Of course, people are willing to lend you small amounts." Anna suddenly understood. She looked at me and said, "Did you see that? This is what real manly charm is like. It makes everyone admire you, and they're eager to lend me money just to be associated with him. If I were still with you, do you think anyone would help me when I'm in trouble?" Becky sneered. "Trouble? Being with him is already the biggest disaster in your life." They continued borrowing money, and eventually managed to get just over $8,000. But there was still a $10,000 gap. Becky gritted her teeth. "I know a guy in the underworld who can lend me the money, but if we can't pay it back, it'll be bad." Anna looked worried. "What will happen if we can't pay him back?" Becky brushed it off. "Don't worry about that. Your new boyfriend is so rich, $10,000 is nothing to him." Becky quickly contacted the so-called underworld guy, and it was clear that he was probably a loan shark, willing to lend $10,000 without hesitation. After they managed to get enough money, they paid me back. Anna threw the phone at me and said coldly, "Are you happy now? Get lost. From now on, we're done. No more contact." I nodded and turned to Janet. "Come with me." Janet looked surprised, not understanding why I was asking her to come along. Becky immediately mocked us. "I told you there was something going on. As soon as they pay him back, these two will get together." I was at a loss. I asked Janet to come with me because she worked in the student union and had access to everyone's contact details. If I wanted to send a court summons to Anna's family, I'd need her address. Janet blushed and lowered her head as we walked out. Becky sneered again, "Are you really going with him? You're only fit for the second-hand man." Anna tossed aside. Janet was almost in tears. "I don't think that way." Becky cursed, "Keep pretending. It's no wonder your family is so poor." Anna looked at us with disdain, then sneered. "Good thing I broke up with you. A useless man like you is better off with her." I led Janet out of the dormitory and into the hallway. Janet whispered, "I just said that because I was angry. Don't take it the wrong way. Right now, I just want to focus on my studies. I don't feel the way they say I do." I nodded. "I know. You're busy with your scholarship and tutoring. You don't have time for a relationship." Janet asked curiously, "Then why did you ask me to come out here?" I said, "I know you have everyone's contact details. Can you give me Anna's home address?" When Janet heard this, she immediately panicked. "What are you planning to do? Don't do anything rash." She seemed so worried that she actually grabbed my hand. Looking straight into my eyes, Janet said earnestly, "We may be poor, but we have our pride. The mistake is theirs. Don't let their mistakes ruin your future." The air was heavy with silence. I didn't know how to respond. Did she think I was planning to take revenge on Anna's family? Realizing she'd grabbed my hand, Janet quickly released it, blushing as she said, "You're hardworking, you're determined, you deserve a better life. I believe in 10 years. Anna will regret her choice." I replied, "No need to wait 10 years. I already had the 4S dealership assess the damages. If she's living in the city, she'll regret it soon enough." Janet froze. "What do you mean?" I said, "The sports car downstairs is mine." She stared at me in shock, unable to process the information. I explained everything to Janet, and she was left stunned once more. It wasn't until I showed her my driver's license that she started to believe me. Janet walked off to get the contact list, seemingly floating as if she were in a dream. Soon enough, she sent me Anna's home address. To my surprise, it was just a few kilometers away from the 4S dealership. What a coincidence. I called the dealership, and they told me they would send over the damage assessment within 10 minutes. Wait a second, I suddenly realized. Anna had returned my phone, but how would I contact her when I needed to collect the debt? I should probably hold on to the phone for now. I went back to Anna's dorm. When she saw me, she glared and asked, "Why are you back?" I said, "I know you don't have a phone. So I'll lend you mine for a couple of days. Becky immediately clutched her chest and made a disgusted gesture. I'm about to puke. I told you, he's doing this on purpose to get back together with you. Anna snapped, do you really think I'm that stupid? Can't you just leave me alone? You're making me look bad in front of my friends. Just then, Becky's phone rang. Becky picked it up and looked at the screen, puzzled. That's strange, Anna. Why are your parents calling me? I froze. The 4S dealership was fast. It seemed that when Anna's parents couldn't reach her, they immediately called Becky. Anna took the phone and asked, Mom, what's wrong? This time, Anna didn't put the call on speaker, but her mother's angry shouting could still be heard clearly by all of us. Don't call me Mom. Do you have any idea how much your father and I earn? You've ruined our family. The sudden outburst left Anna in shock. She quickly asked, what did I do wrong, Mom? Anna stepped into a corner of the room to talk, but before long, she broke down in tears. Becky rushed over, asking, Anna, what's wrong? Through her sobs, Anna cried. I know why Henry's suddenly angry with me. I dented his car. Now he's demanding my family pay for the repairs. The estimated cost is $137,000. My family doesn't have that kind of money. Becky was stunned. No way. Did just sitting in it cause that kind of damage? The bill's already been sent to my house. My mom took a picture of it and told me to check my phone. Anna couldn't even stand. She collapsed onto the bed. Becky gritted her teeth. Don't panic. I might have a solution. Anna asked, what can you do? Becky replied, at this point, we can only check if you're pregnant. If you are, and you have his child, will he still dare to demand car repair money? Anna immediately nodded. Yes. If he won't show me respect, he'll at least respect the child, right? Becky was full of energy. If he dares ask for car money, you go to his family and make a scene. Anna sighed deeply. I originally thought I could marry into a rich family with a child, but now it looks like I'm only going to pay for car repairs. Becky tried to comfort her. Hey, $137,000 is no small amount. Your parents would need 2 years to earn that much. Besides, who says you can't marry into a rich family? Maybe his parents will want you to marry him, and forget about car repair fees, they might even give you a car. I was thinking about how we had once been in love. Maybe I should say something to Anna, a reminder about the consequences of her actions. I hesitated, then spoke up, actually, before I could say anything, Anna shot me a furious look. She marched over to me, snatched the phone out of my hand, and hissed, don't say a word. Get out. I don't want to hear your voice. I'm already upset enough. Becky also snapped at me. Yeah. Can you just leave? We're trying to figure out how to calm Henry down. Feeling awkward, I said, maybe you should look at the documents first. Becky screamed, just get out. We have nothing to talk about with you. If you keep bothering Anna, we'll file harassment charges. See you in court. I nodded, accepting her words. Since that's what she wanted, I'd just leave them to it. After all, we were going to court anyway. Anna had already picked up her phone and sent a voice message to Henry, please, come downstairs to my dorm. I want to talk to you. Please. Henry quickly replied. And when Anna played the voice message, we heard Henry's voice, all right, I want to talk too. Come downstairs now. Anna put her phone down, looking worriedly at Becky. Do you think he'll really forgive me? Becky said, go downstairs and beg him first. I'll go with you to beg him. Becky helped Anna up and shot me a glare. Good dogs don't block the way. I didn't bother to respond and turned to leave the dorm. Just as I was about to go downstairs, Janet had returned. Anna and Becky walked ahead of us, deliberately avoiding Janet. Janet saw me and quietly asked, are you really going to make Anna pay you a lot of money? I replied, no, I'm not going to extort her. She'll pay what she owes, but I'm thinking. Janet asked, thinking what? I said, it seems like they're begging the wrong person. I wonder if the situation will get awkward later. When we reached the ground floor, Henry was already there. The most striking thing was that Henry had a slap mark on his face. He was crying, standing by the side of the road, wiping his tears. If I had to guess, he must have talked to his dad about the situation. And gotten a bit of a lesson from him. Anna and Becky were both stunned when they saw him. Becky said, no way. His family is so rich, why is he crying like this? Anna said, maybe he really loves the car. When we were dating, he was always so protective of it. Becky sighed. They say a car is a man's second wife. Guess it's true. I rolled my eyes. I didn't have a thing for cars as wives and, honestly, he'd better protect my car. Anna rushed forward, putting on her most pitiful expression. Henry, let me explain. Explain what, you filthy bitch? Henry finally snapped. Unable to contain his frustration anymore. He rushed forward, grabbed Anna by the hair, and slapped her across the face. Anna and Becky clearly didn't expect Henry to physically lash out. Becky rushed to intervene, but Anna, looking utterly hurt, said, Henry, if you're upset, just hit me. It's my fault, I won't do it again. Can I make it up to you for the rest of my life? I don't need you to make it up. Henry shouted, his anger reaching a boiling point. He began throwing punch after punch into Anna's face. At that moment, both Anna and Becky realized the situation was spiraling out of control. The students around us were equally stunned, not knowing how to react. Just moments ago, Anna had been sitting in the sports car, stepping out to the envious gaze of her classmates. But now, in front of so many people, Henry had grabbed her by the hair and was punching her face repeatedly. Becky shouted anxiously, you're hitting way too hard. She's a girl. Henry was hitting so hard that he even knocked out Anna's front tooth. Anna, holding her mouth, looked at the ground in disbelief and spat out blood. She quickly bent down to pick up her broken tooth, crying out in distress, stop hitting me. My tooth's gone. Becky, go get some milk. I nodded and said, smart thinking. You should put the tooth in milk right away, that's the best chance to save it. Janet turned to me, confused, and said, are you enjoying this? I said, of course not. We used to care about each other. Seeing her like this, it's sad for me too. Janet asked, then why are you smiling? I replied. I'm just someone who laughs naturally. People who laugh a lot usually don't have bad luck. At this moment, as she was being beaten, Anna finally remembered me. Holding her mouth, she shouted at me with a mix of frustration and hurt, you're really not a man. I've been beaten like this and you won't help me. I responded seriously, you guys were the ones who told me to stop bothering you, otherwise, you'd see me in court. It seemed Henry had been so overwhelmed by the situation that, after I spoke, he finally noticed me. He released Anna and walked toward me. Becky hurriedly said, Henry, I know you're upset, but do you know how much Anna's been through for you? Just a moment ago, this guy kept bullying her. If she didn't love you so much, would she have taken all this torment? Henry snapped, shut up. Becky, not daring to speak further, fell silent. It was strange. Just moments ago, Becky had been so smug in front of me, but now, facing Henry, the man she had been idolizing, she suddenly became meek and obedient. Henry reached me, and I was wondering how he would apologize, but instead, he made a move I never saw coming. Right there in front of everyone. He suddenly dropped to his knees. Henry wiped his tears and, crying, said, I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. At that moment, the world seemed to go silent. Everyone stood there, stunned. The students were frozen in disbelief. Becky was shaking uncontrollably, unable to believe what was happening. Janet didn't say a word, just lowering her head. Anna, still covering her mouth where her tooth had been knocked out, suddenly had blood pouring from her nose. She quickly tried to sniff it back in but choked on it, coughing painfully. No one expected things to turn out like this. To be honest, not even I had predicted it. I sighed and said, if I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have let it get this far. Becky, in a daze, asked, why are you apologizing to him? I whispered, well, tell everyone why you're apologizing to me. Henry, still crying, said, I shouldn't have taken your car to show off. I shouldn't have been cheating with your girlfriend. I'm scum, I'm disgusting. Please forgive me. I went back and talked to my dad, but he said our family is already drowning in rent debts. We don't have the money to pay. I nodded and said, your dad really has it hard. That's why I sent the car to your shop for servicing. Who would have thought a hard-working mechanic would raise such a son? Henry was beside himself, pleading, I'll never do it again. If this money can be delayed, I'll do anything you ask. Anna stood there, completely stunned, unable to process what had just unfolded. Anna muttered to herself, what repair shop? What car went for maintenance? What stolen car? I said, isn't the truth right in front of you? Anna pointed at the sports car, her voice trembling. That's your car? I nodded, yes. It's my car. Her expression froze, then her lips trembled as she burst into tears again. How is it that the rich one is you? I thought you were just some guy handing out flyers. I do hand out flyers, but those are for my stores. Ignoring the blood from her nose and missing tooth, Anna hurried to stand up. She limped over to me, grabbed my arm, and cried, please, let me explain. I coldly responded, we've already broken up. I placed my hand on Henry's shoulder. Henry swallowed hard, looking at me with pleading eyes. I said, this is your fault, not your dad's. In fact, you've done me a favor, because you've shown me my girlfriend's true face. You've helped me, so I'll help you once. I thought for a moment and added, next year, you'll graduate. You and your family can agree on the compensation amount. When you start earning your own money, I'll let you pay it off in 3 years. Henry's eyes widened. Really? I nodded, yes, the mistake you made doesn't need your dad to pay for it. But, about the tooth you knocked out, well, that might cost you quite a bit. Henry snarled, I'm not paying a cent. I'd rather get detained and have a record. I asked. You'd really prefer to be detained and not pay a single cent to her? Henry replied, yes. A bitch like her doesn't deserve a thing from me. I slapped his shoulder hard and laughed, see? Now you're being sensible. I'll let you off the hook for $10,000, consider it my reward for you. Anna was completely stunned. She whimpered, I was wrong, please give me another chance, please. It's all. She suddenly spun around, pointing at Becky, and yelled, it's all this bitch's fault. Becky stayed silent, her face blank. Anna sobbed, you told me to do this. I love my boyfriend so much, why did I fall for your trick? At that moment, Anna's face turned pale. Becky suddenly burst into tears. Becky said, the money I lent you, are you just going to leave me hanging? Anna ripped the mask off their friendship, you've ruined me. Why should I pay you back? Becky wailed, I have to pay it back, or they'll kill me. I casually said, if you're so scared to owe money to people like that, just pay it back. Becky cried again, where am I going to get $10,000 from? Janet clenched her fists in frustration. She snapped. You mocked me for eating the food on the table, but you can't even scrape together $10,000. You're poor too, so why bully poor people? You deserve this. Becky collapsed onto the ground, crying uncontrollably. I smiled at Anna, goodbye, unless it's about paying back the money, don't contact me. Otherwise, I'll sue you for harassment. I then turned to Janet, now that the bitch has been punished, want to grab a meal to celebrate? You can ride in my car. Janet replied, are you drunk? Why would I get in your car, or eat with you? I thought for a moment and then awkwardly scratched my nose. I got into my sports car and drove off into the distance. Soon after, Anna and Henry's families reached an agreement to each pay half of the compensation. It was said that Anna's parents beat her half to death at home, even breaking her leg. The leg was really broken and put in a cast, but it didn't heal properly, so she had to get it broken again to heal right. She must have been too embarrassed, as in her final year of college, she didn't even show up to class anymore. As for Becky, she still came around, but every time she did, people would mock her, calling her a traitor to the poor class. To pay back the money she owed, Becky desperately looked for a job, but after word spread about her situation, no business would hire her. In the end, with nowhere else to turn, she came to me and begged for a job. I just happened to own a few low-end restaurants, so I put her to work cleaning the bathrooms. Since she had looked down on the poor, I thought it fitting to have her clean toilets for the poor. She could only cry while scrubbing the bathrooms. The word spread. And people everywhere were talking about how she had fallen so low. Some classmates even came specifically just to use the bathroom after she cleaned it, so she'd have to clean it again. After Anna dropped out, she frequently messaged me, begging for a reconciliation. Every time I blocked her, she would just switch accounts to keep harassing me. In the end, I did what she wanted and sued her. That finally scared her enough that she stopped contacting me. As for Janet, there was no story between us. She was an independent and disciplined girl. Very different from Anna and the others. In the last year of college, Janet never reached out to me. After graduation, she returned home to teach. She said there were many poor children in her hometown, and she wanted to help them. I really admired her character, so I contacted her a few times. But she wasn't interested in a relationship. The only time she contacted me was to ask if I could help with a call for people to donate unwanted clothes. I donated some old clothes and we never contacted each other again. I often think back to what she said. That a person should have dignity. She was an extraordinary girl, and I hope her life takes her far.